I stand in front of the mirror, barely recognizing the woman in the long white dress. Today, I am to undergo the lunar ceremony, to become the Luna of the pack under the watchful eyes of the moon goddess. Chapter 10. Eleanor, the day of the lunar ceremony had arrived, and I was all but hyperventilating. My anxiety was in full force, causing my hands to shake uncontrollably as I paced the room. Calm down, Elara says for what must have been the 1000th time, her supportive nature shining through despite her exasperation. What if I'm not ready? Turning towards her, myself, doubt bubbling to the surface. Are you kidding me? After that ass beating you handed out, it's all the pack has been talking about for the past few weeks, she says, grabbing me by the shoulders to halt my nervous pacing. Trust me, you are ready. Her assertiveness is both comforting and overwhelming. I shake my head, my stubbornness kicking in. There's more to being a Luna than just fighting, and I was lucky. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. The strong fighter I faced had almost beaten me. Stop it. Elara snaps, shaking me. You got this. I take a deep breath, trying to convince myself. Okay, right. It's going to be fine. Yep, fine. Elara's eyes, her intuition picking up on my internal struggle. Let's look at the dress. She squeals, her enthusiasm infectious. Oh goddess, I'd forgotten all about the dress. If it were up to me, I would just rock a t-shirt, shorts, and sneakers. Yeah, like Elara would ever allow it. I watch her unzip the bag hanging on the back of the closet door. Silently, I wonder if this is how my mother would have been. It has gotten easier to think of my parents, but a lump still works its way up my throat, my sentimental nature getting the best of me. Elara turns to look at my reaction to the beautiful white dress. Her face falls as she takes in my expression. You don't like it? Concerned, I half smile and shake my head. It's not the dress now. She gives me a small, understanding smile and hugs me. Your mom would be so proud. I fight the tears that prick my eyes, my emotions threatening to overflow. Don't you dare, she shrieks, pulling back. You will ruin my masterpiece. Oh right. I never wore it, but she had insisted. You're cut, she says, fanning my face. I have to hold in my laughter as she glares at me, her detail-oriented nature coming through. That eye makeup took me an hour. You had better not ruin it. I hold up my hands in surrender. Now let us get you in the dress, before Calum comes looking for you, she says, turning and pulling the rest of it from the bag. I stand in front of the mirror as Elara messes with my hair. She had curled and pulled it up, loosening some curls around my face. She was placing pins here and there, but had diamond studs on the ends. I stare at my reflection, almost not recognizing the woman staring back. The dress is long and white, with open shoulders connected to lace sleeves that drop to a point just over my hands. More lace overlaps the fabric down the front with diamond accents that match my hairpins. The back's exposed all the way down, coming together just before my backside and turning into a train. Elara steps back and whistles. Girl, you are going to give every mated male a heart attack. I grin at her, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. She looks up, fanning her face. Shit, shit, shit. I laugh. I knock sounds at the door and Cale pops his head in. Are you almost? He pauses as his eyes land on me, his expressive nature evident in his reaction. Oh, my love, goddess. He breathes, making me blush. Told you. Elara laughs. Eleanor Luna. I mean, wow, he stammers. Elara and I cannot hold back our laughter. His face turns red as he clears his throat. Calum is going to kill someone, he mumbles. Elara walks over to her brother, punching him on the shoulder. That's what he has you for, bro. Keep the peace. Will you? He nods. I will try, but I can make no promises with her looking like that. What is taking so long? I hear from behind Cale as Ender shoves past him. Alpha is. He stops dead sentence. Holy hell. Luna, are you trying to get all the males in the pack killed? Elara rolls her eyes. You'll be first on the list if you keep staring. Kale laughs. Come on. Let's get you downstairs before the alpha comes up here or you won't be leaving this room. Blushing, I nod. Kale and I'm pacing the floor as I wait for Eleanor. I'm not nervous, just impatient. She's been up there for over 5 hours getting ready. I know the majority has to do with Elara. She wanted to make sure everything was perfect. Once Kale had spilled the lunar ceremony to her, she jumped in and took over. Not that I was complaining. Had my mother still been here, she would have been the one to plan it. So, I was happy to have her take over. Well, to my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She had gone on a freak spending spree and all-out decorations. I cringe, thinking how much Ned was going to flip a lid once he saw the pack account for this past month. Hearing footsteps coming down the stairs, I look up. Kale, Xander, and Elara all come down first, but once I see Eleanor, the world stops. She is beyond beautiful. Her dress clings to every perfect curve. The train flows behind her as she takes each step, head held high. The goddess herself couldn't be more beautiful. I walk over as she reaches the bottom step. I can't find the words, so I just stare at her and she at me. She is perfect. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. And ours, bringing me back to reality. The ceremony is about to begin. Clearing my throat, I hold out my arm. Electricity shoots through my whole body as she loops her arm through mine. I hear her suck in a breath, telling me that she felt it too. As we walk from the house, I whisper in her ear, "You are so beautiful." She blushes and I growl. I love the way her skin looks when she blushes. Easy, Alpha, Elara says, smirking. I bite my tongue to keep from snapping at her. She was right. I needed to relax my wolf or we wouldn't be making it to the ceremony. I may be the Alpha, but even I didn't want to deal with Elara's freakout tonight. No, thank you. Kale chuckles. He knew what I was thinking. Twinkling lights line the pathway around the pack house. Elara had picked the perfect spot to set up the ceremony. We had a small stone ruin that stood in the woods just a few yards off. The path ran right up to the stone steps and arch. That was the only thing left standing from the old building. Pack members stood on either side of the pathway as we made our way to the front. I puffed my chest with pride as all the pack members bowed their heads in respect and some murmured as Helena looked. That was an understatement, but it was probably best they didn't say more. As we reached the bottom of the steps, Kale, Xander, and Elara find a place in the crowd's front. A table sits at the top of the stone steps, draped with a lace runner, a copper cup, and a knife in the center. Everyone goes quiet as one of the pack elders steps behind the table, raising his hand. Fireflies surround the area as the moon lifts higher in the sky. Ignatius begins. Long ago, when the shifters were created, the moon goddess sought to fill our world with strength. She made the Alpha strong, mighty, a great warrior and protector for his pack. But he was alone. I lock eyes with Eleanor. She knew the pack needed more. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. A bond. She made the Luna. I take Eleanor's hand in mine. The Luna is not just the bond of the pack. She is the stable, the backbone, and a fighter. The crowd howls. She stands tall, but she is compassionate, caring, filled with love, and loyal. I pick up the knife as he continues. Tonight, we welcome Eleanor. The moon hand picked her herself to help lead our pack. I cut my palm, handing the knife to her. She does the same. Eleanor, do you accept the responsibility to help our Alpha lead the pack? To do its best for our pack? to cherish each and every member, have compassion, and seal the bond forever. My chest swells with pride as she answers. I will. We place both of our stiff palms together. I feel the pack bond tighten around us. I have to hold her steady as it slams into her. Her eyes glaze over as the link locks into place. I hear her thoughts as our minds connect, and it seals the connection to the rest of the pack. Your new Luna, Ignatius shouts. Some of the pack shifts and others stay in their human form as they howl in celebration. Eleanor, I was a ball of nerves through the whole thing. Even though the ceremony had been explained to me, I had no idea how much it would impact me once we joined our hands. It flooded me with so much emotion I almost toppled over. Thank the goddess Calum had grabbed me. That would have been so embarrassing. Calum raises our joined hands high in the air as the pack whistles and howls. I'm so overwhelmed by the voices floating through my mind welcoming me as the Luna of the pack. Elara is the first to approach, wrapping me in an enormous hug, tears streaming down her face. I thought you said not to cry. She pulls back, slapping my arm, and I laugh. She tries to wipe the now smudged mascara from under her eyes. No, I told you not to ruin my masterpiece. I'm allowed to ruin mine. She babbles. I laugh again. Calum pulls me to his side, kissing my temple. You did amazing. I smile at him. I don't think I have ever been this happy. Calum's and awoke up next. Both bow in respect. Should we move this party back to the pack house? Onda asks. I'm starving. Calum smirks, pulling me closer. Let's go. Leading the way. The party went on all night into the early morning. I was completely dead on my feet. The heels Elara had picked out were perfect for the dress, but not so much for the celebration after. I've also never eaten so much food in my life, and let's not forget all the drinks. I only had a sip of the wolfsbane liquor Calum had in his glass, and the world was spinning. Let's just say I won't be trying that again anytime soon. I stretch and rotate my neck, sitting on the bed while Calum is taking off his tie. You want me to run you a bath? Watching me, I groan. Yes, please. How can all of you stay up all night? He laughs. Walking into the bathroom, I hear the tub filling, so I kick off my heels and make my way into the bathroom. Calum is leaning over the tub adding some kind of clear-scented oil, and I can't but stare at him. Goddess, how could you bless me with such a mate? He turns towards me. Let's get you out of that dress. His eyes shifting from grey to green and back. I turn around and pull my arms from the sleeves. I feel Calum move behind me, placing his hands on my hips. He softly kisses my neck. I moan, moving my head to the side. Slowly, he pulls my dress over my hips. I step out as it falls to the floor, turning to face him. His eyes rake over me. I wasn't wearing anything under the dress, and he growls in approval, putting me to his chest. I lace my arms up and around his neck. Goddess, you're perfect. Smashing his lips into mine. I gasp at the sudden electricity shooting through me, and he deepens the kiss. I moan, kissing him back as we fight for dominance. I let him win. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He growls deep in his chest, making me feel hot all over when he finally breaks away. Breathing heavy, he puts his forehead on mine. We better get you in the tub. Clearing his throat, I nod, slipping into the hot water. I moan, Goddess, this feels so good. He chuckles as he moves behind me. Reaching over, he grabs the oil off the edge and starts to massage my shoulders. I groan louder as my body starts to relax, running his hands over my shoulders and down to my chest. Explosive heat hits me between my thighs as he rubs across my nipples. I bite my lip, holding back a gasp. He works over one and moves to the other. Before I know it, in the panting mess, slowly, working one hand lower as the other kneads and twists my nipple. His hand slips between my thighs and I arch my back at the pleasure that shoots through me. I've never been touched there before. I'm both confused at the sensation but love it at the same time, nipping my neck as he moves his hand in small circles and pinches my nipple at the same time. My brain goes into a haze as the pressure builds between my legs. I feel like I'm about to explode. He moves his hand faster and I arch my back. Goddess, this feels amazing. That's right. Let it go, baby. He whispers in my ear and I explode. Pleasure shoots through me as I arch my back. Screaming. I don't know how long I was in the tub, but I feel like jelly. Kalen chuckles as he grabs a washcloth and runs it all over my body. My skin's height at every touch. I feel completely relaxed and exhausted. He pulls the drain plugs a towel before lifting me out and carrying me to the bed. I can't move even if I wanted to. My body's still buzzing from my orgasm. He sets me down gently and strips down to his boxers. Climbing into bed. He pulls me close. I am out in a matter of seconds. Goddess, can it get any better than this? I'm startled awake by a loud boom. Calum rolls out of bed and dances in front of me as the door crashes open. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Tyler shouts. As he barges in, I pull the covers under my chin, remembering I'm naked, and blush. Calum growls a deep warning and Tyler stops dead in his tracks, dropping his head. Luna. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have rogues on the eastern border. Calum growls again, standing to his full height. I'll be right there. Tyler nods and bows to me before exiting the room. Calum strides into the closet. I stand, pulling the sheet with me. Walking towards the closet, Calum emerges fully dressed, but stops and looks at me. That was quick. What are you doing? He asks in full alpha mode. I'm getting dressed. Lifting my chin, he grunts, moving around me. Go back to bed. I will have this handled in a moment. Wait, what? I turn to him. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nogan. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I can help. He stops with his hand on the door now. I'm a bit taken aback by his tone, but I shake it off. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. In the Luna, I should be helping. Trying to move around him. He grabs my waist. Eleanor, you need to wait here. Was he being for real right now? What was the point of the ceremony? I glare at him and he sighs. I don't have time for this right now. Will you please get back in bed? I can handle this. I cross my arms and he glares at me for a moment, but I don't budge. Suddenly, he grabs me, yanking me up against him. I'm surprised and squeak. He kisses me passionately, running his hands up my back and into my hair, and pulls lightly. I gasp and drop the blanket as he twashes over me. He pulls back with a smirk, and whispers in my ear, "I'll be right back," and walks out, closing the door. What the hell? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Taking the steps two at a time, I tried to ignore my discomfort. I had never wanted to pleasure a woman as much as I wanted to Eleanor, which is what I was planning on doing this morning. I'm pissed at the sudden interruption, even if it was for a good reason. Tyler's pacing at the bottom of the steps but stands at attention when he notices me. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He says and nods. What's the report? Not stopping. I stride across the lawn. Caelan's under are there now, falling into step beside me. But there are a lot more than we expected. Stay here. Set up an outer perimeter, just in case. They never get this far into the territory, but I was going to take any chances. Yes, Alpha, Tyler says, running off. I hit the tree line running and shift mid-air. My clothes are of no concern. Using my wolf speed, I shoot for the borderline. Artemis is in full predator mode as we glide through the trees. What would make the rogues attack now? Do they ever need a reason? says Artemis. He's right. Rogues always want to take what isn't theirs. Mostly because they had lost their places in their packs and were outcasts. They didn't need a reason to attack. Nearing the board line, I can hear the snarling and chomping of teeth. Kalins and are in wolf form at opposite ends, each engaged with a rogue. All across the line, my pack is fighting to push them back. I scan the line. One rogue has managed to slip past and is making a break to get deeper into the territory. He doesn't notice me in all the commotion. I roar and he tries to circle back. But it's too late. I'm already on him. My jaws latch onto the side of his throat. I shake him like a rag doll, with a satisfying crunching sound, and the smell of blood fills my nose. Using my paws, I pin his body down and tear his head clean off, flinging it to the side. Goddess, that felt good. Artemis is pulling for full control as we make our way into the fight. I step back, allowing him to feel his bloodlust. These rogues picked the wrong pack. In taking down rogue after rogue with ease, they don't stand a chance against my alpha wolf. As I pin yet another rogue before sinking my teeth into his jugular, a scent catches my nose. My eyes burn as my vision blurs. I blink, shaking my head. What is that? The smell is awful and my wolf wants to shrink back. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing Quixote's enthusiasm. I stand to my full height, looking through the crowd of wolves. I can't tell where it's coming from. Just as quickly as I smelt it, the scent is gone. What in that? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing Quixote's enthusiasm. Kayla's voice drifts through our mind link. Yes, I smelt it. Can you locate it? Engaging with yet another rogue. No alpha. Shit. I perk at the worried feeling through our link. What? Holding down another rogue as it snaps at my throat. Once slipped through. Kale links. I think that's where the silver smell was coming from. That's why we can't send it now. What? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing Quixote's enthusiasm. Crushing the rogue under my weight, I turn, running full speed back towards the house. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing Quixote's enthusiasm. I hear Eleanor's voice come through the link. My heart drops into my stomach. They are everywhere. Hold on. I'm almost there. I yell through the link. No Calum. They are all dying. My blood runs cold. It can't be. They set off some kind of bomb and everyone just. Get out of there. She doesn't say anything and I push myself faster. Calum, I can't breathe. I hear Eleanor's voice fading through the link. No Chapter 11, Calum. Wolves lay scattered across the clearing. Some of the weaker ones have already passed, while others lay gasping for air as the silver makes its way into their bloodstream. I lift my head in a heart-breaking howl as I take in my surroundings. There was nothing I could do for my fallen pack members. Quickly, I make my way to the house, as thoughts of Eleanor consume my mind. I try to reach out to her through our link, but can't. The door to the house is ajar. I sniff, locating her and Tyler's scent leading from the steps. I keep sniffing, following their scent as I reach a smaller wooded area. Artemis lets out a loud whine as we find our mate, sprawled on the ground next to Tyler. She is breathing, but just barely. Tyler reaches towards me. He gurgles, rushing over to both of them. I nudge my nose against my mate. She doesn't respond. MSS, so ROY. He tries to say, coughing up blood. My entire world is crumbling right in front of me. I lay down next to my mate, lifting my massive head, and howl. Kalen's and a run-up. Xander whimpers as he steps closer, but I bare my teeth and growl. Both of them step back. I won't let anyone near her. I lay my head on her chest. Her breathing is shallow and getting worse by the minute. I feel so helpless. There is no cure for silver powder. It's lethal. Once it hits your system, there is no stopping it. I shut my eyes, focusing on her breathing. I would be here until her last breath. Eleanor. I stand in shock as Calum leaves the room. That's Nicky. Conniving. Hard-headed wolfman. I huff, making my way back to the closet. If he thought for 1 minute, he could just kiss me into submission. Not that I minded the kissing part. But that's not the point. If he thought I was going to just stand by and wait till he went running off, he had another thing coming. Getting dressed. I make my way down to the main level, stomping out the front door and heading down the steps. Met with a panicked Tyler. Luna, get back in the house. He shouts, trying to shove me back up the steps. Now wait just 1 minute. I try to say, but he isn't listening as he grabs my arm. Growling, I jerk away. Tyler, stop. He immediately lets go and bows his head. I'm sorry, Luna. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it's too dangerous. I cross my arms, about to argue, when a pack of rogues bursts into the clearing around the house. Get back inside, Tyler shouts. As a wolf charges at us, he doesn't even have time to shift as he grabs the wolf by its head, shoving it back as the rest of my bodyguard team comes running. My feet are planted to the ground as a protective line forms in front of me. Us on one side, rogues on the other. They snap and growl. Drool drips from some of their mouths as they bare their teeth. Flashbacks of my parents slam into me, and I shrink back, reaching out to Calum through our link. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. They are everywhere. Hold on. I'm almost there. A sense of relief fills me, but it's short-lived. None of the wolves have made a move on either side until I see it all. Ragged man stepped from the tree line. His eyes are wild, hair sticking up all over. A GS holding a funny-looking cylinder, lifting it high with one hand, holding down what looks to be a trigger. He throws it high into the air, with a crazed look on his face. A pop sound goes off as glittering powder shoots everywhere. It almost looks like confetti. Then it explodes like fireworks, shooting large amounts of dust in every direction. My nose burns and so do my eyes. The wolves around me start to fall over. Some of the rogues scratch at their own throats, and some of my pack members drop. I panic at the sight and scream for Calum. No, Calum. They are all dying. Get out of there. Tyler is gasping for air and we both start coughing. Grabbing my arm, he yanks me down the steps. We run a few yards, but it's hard to breathe. We are only able to make it into a small patch of trees, hoping to stop some of the powder, as we both collapse. I roll onto my back trying to suck in a breath. I reach out through the link again. Calum, I can't breathe. Panicked. Everything is starting to go dark now. It's the last thing I hear before it all goes black. I'm not sure how long I was laying there, but I feel a slight weight on my chest and a warmth spreads through my body. I know it's Calum. He is the only one who can cause this type of reaction. I want so badly to run my hands through his hair, but I can't move. I can feel a slight burn course through my veins. The powder must have been made of silver. It's the only thing strong enough to affect my system so quickly, which meant I was going to die. We all were going to die. I feel myself fading and more warmth spreads over me. Not like when Calum touched me. This was different. Suddenly, I'm standing in a dark space. I look around, but nothing is in sight. Where am I? A voice drifts. Eleanor Naoma, is that you? Spinning around, but there is nothing. My wolf whines, but it wasn't her voice I was hearing. Eleanor, you must go back. I hear it again. The voice is smooth and soothing. I feel my body tingle. The wolves need you. Reach for it. Eleanor, I have given you a magnificent gift. What was she talking about? Reach for what? I look around, seeing nothing. Reach within yourself. Embrace it. You will find it, says the voice as it fades. What was she talking about? I try looking around again. I can feel a tingling deep within my chest. So I close my eyes, trying to focus on it. Opening my eyes, the dark space has changed. I still can't fully see. It's like walking through a fog. But then I see a purple glow. I step towards it. The feeling is hard to describe as waves of power push into me. I move closer and the light grows brighter. It's almost blinding. I reach for it. I gasp, filling my lungs full of air. My whole body is buzzing. I feel as though I'm floating outside myself. My eyes focus on a massive black wolf, his green eyes staring at me. It's like the world is moving in slow motion. Slowly, I lift myself from the ground. Everything is pulsating. I see Tyler laying on the ground, blood spilling from his nose and mouth. Something makes me reach for him. A low growl comes from behind me, but I can't stop myself. Dropping to my knees, I place my hand on his chest. The feeling from my body moves into my palms. Tyler's body jerks and his back arches. A puff of shining dust lifts from his nose and mouth. It whirls and twirls through the air like smoke, before disappearing. Tyler gasps and coughs like he can't enough air. Standing, I turn, seeing all eyes on me. They are a mixture of worry and awe. Still, I can't seem to find my words or control myself, as my body is being pulled towards another wolf laying on the ground, and I repeat the same process. Once I finish helping the last one, I feel my body collapsing. Warm hands grip my waist and I'm pulled up against a hard chest. I sigh as I breathe in the calming scent of my mate. Then the world goes dark. I wake up in my room. Calum is sitting beside the bed, holding my hand, his head bowed low. "Hey," I whisper. His eyes shoot to mine. A look of pain and relief moves across his face. "Eleanor." His eyes are red and swollen. Reaching over, I rub my hand down his face. "Don't cry. I can't stand it when you cry." He presses his face into my hand, chuckling at me for stealing one of his lines. Closing his eyes, he takes a deep breath. "I thought I lost you." Locking eyes with me. "What happened?" Trying to sit up. My head is pounding. Calum props me up and hands me a glass of water. I chug it all before wiping my mouth with the back of my hand. "What do you remember?" Setting the glass aside, closing my eyes, I try to piece everything together. I remember the attack, and the bomb I not dead. Looking at him, "That's what we would like to know," a voice says. I look at the doorway and see it all. Pale, skinny man leaning against the frame. Calum growls. Standing. "Get the fuck out, Various." I look between them. "Who let you in here?" Calum yells. Storming across the room, Various links back, putting up his hands. "I am a council member. Kile agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." "I am here to investigate." Calum grabs him by the front of his shirt. "I don't give a shit if you're here for the moon goddess herself. Get the fuck out." Various stumbles backwards as Calum shoves him out the door, slamming it in his face. He stands there for a few minutes, panting. Once he calms down, he comes back and sits beside me. "I'm sorry. I made you stay here and look at what almost happened." I shake my head, grabbing his face in both my hands. "Don't. It's not your fault." He pulls away, shaking his head. "It is my fault." How could he think this was his fault? Standing, he starts pacing. "I knew about the damn bomb and I never told you." Running his hand over his face. "This is my fault. Had I told you about it, you could have been better prepared." I watch him for a couple of minutes. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." As he glances at me, "It wouldn't have mattered if you told me. No one can stop a silver bomb." He stares at me. "What?" A range of emotions play across his face. "You did." "Me, what did I do?" "I didn't stop it. The bomb went off." Weight realization hits me. How many did we lose? Tearing up, Calum sighs, sitting next to me. About 10. 10 we lost 10. Tears spill down my cheeks. He wipes them. We would have lost a lot more if it wasn't for you. I take a deep breath. How did you do it? I shake my head. I don't know, 1 minute I was thinking I was dying and the next, I'm helping Tyler. Calum nods. I was there when you quit breathing. I look at him, confused. I felt our bond snap. I thought I lost you and Artemis Calum's and had to pin me down as my wolf went nuts. I was going to kill everything in my path. I fight back tears. But you came back. You stopped breathing. Your heart stopped. I heard it. Still you came back. He looks relieved, sad, and confused all at once. You started glowing. I don't know how to explain it. But you started glowing. Staring off. You were glowing this purplish color and then, I don't know. He looks at me. It sounds crazy. I know it does. But you were glowing. And it's like you expelled the silver from your system. Like sparkling smoke, I say. Remembering how I helped Tyler. Calum nods. You were in a trance. You moved to each of our pack members. Doing the same thing. I tried to talk to you. To get your attention. But you didn't hear me. I was sure if you were fully coming back what was happening. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how this was even possible. Calum takes my hand, bringing my attention back. You said you were found by a pack when you were 6. I nod. What was the name of the pack you were born in? I had to think for a moment. My brain was still all fuzzy. The Moonlight pack. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. It took all my strength to pull myself from the room. I could only do so after Alara and Kale came to sit with my now sleeping mate. I didn't want her out of sight for even a second. Not until I figured out what the hell was going on. Making my way to my office. Her pack name replays in my head as I try to pinpoint it. I round the corner and find Tyler sitting next to the door. Confused. What are you doing? He looks up at me in man. Does he look rough, not horrible after what he just went through, but rough? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Pulling himself to his feet. Yes, a little unsteady, but holds himself up. How is she? She's doing fine, all things considered. And you should be resting. Tyler nods. I know. I just needed to be sure. I clasped my hand on his shoulder. Tyler, you did everything right. Don't beat yourself up. He looks at me for a moment before nodding. Now go get some rest. Walking into my office. That's an order. Yes, Alpha, he says before walking off. It had been 2 hours. And I was still in my office looking through every book and document I could find. Next to the council, I had all the pack's information from over the past 3 centuries. Yet, I couldn't locate a single sentence on the Moonlight pack. Frustrated. Is it possible she had the name wrong? She was only 6 when she lost her pack. Maybe if she looked over some maps, something might come to mind. No, probably not. I scanned the maps again. She said she stumbled onto another pack and that's where she was living until she came here. If she would just tell me what pack it was, we might be able to narrow down the area her pack used to be. I sigh, sitting back and rubbing my neck as a knock sounds on the door. Come in. I just want this day to be over. Thunder walks in, taking a seat. His regular playful mood. Gone. I threw that asshole out. Leaning back. I know he is referring to Various. I nod. Good. I didn't trust Various, and after all that happened today, my suspicions were only growing more. Kind of weird he showed up right after the attack. Sanders says. I nod. Exactly what I was thinking. It doesn't make sense. He continues. What? Well, not just his timing, but I mean what the hell were rogues doing with the Argent bomb? Are they working with them? And if they are, why the Argent hates all werewolves. Throwing his hands in the air. We knew they were going to test it. But why on our pack? A lot of this just doesn't make sense. I leaned back and thought. Xander had a point. I suppose it's possible they could change their tactics, though it's not likely. He nods. And what the hell was that with Eleanor? I mean, it was badass. But what the hell? I shake my head. I don't know. But I'm going to find out. Eleanor, the next few days had been a nightmare. Not only would Calum not let me have any personal space, but everyone was asking me all sorts of questions that I couldn't answer. Currently, I was sitting in the greenhouse. My bodyguard's not too far off. I growl, annoyed. I had not been outside at all, and it was wearing on Naoma and me. Tyler was also hovering close by. I know he felt guilty about what happened, and no matter how much I explained to him that it was his fault, he refused to let up. Sighing, I dropped the book I hadn't really been reading and mind. Like, Calum, what are you doing? Finishing up some details. What, to get some lunch? Food is the last thing I want. No, I'm going to go outside. No, he says. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You can't keep me locked in the house forever. I need some space. I feel like I'm suffocating. He doesn't respond and I throw my book. After a few minutes of glaring at a fan, I hear Calum walk up. What? I snap, refusing to look at him. I thought you wanted to go outside. I glance at him. He better not be joking, or I'm going to figure out how to use this new ability to choke him. Not really, but the thought is soothing. Calum sighs. Look, I know I have been kind of overprotective. Raising my brow, he runs his hand through his hair. But you understand why. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I get it, but it doesn't mean he needs to lock me away from the world. How about we go for a run together? I look at him. I feel Naomi thin bound in the back of my mind. Yes, yes, and yes. She sings. I hold in my laughter. We haven't ever run with anyone before. Run with mate. Run with mate. She screams, bouncing all her. I smile at Calum. Okay, let's go. Making our way to the tree line. Calum has my bodyguard team hang back. I'm thankful this is going to be an unfamiliar experience and I'm already feeling overwhelmed. Naoma is anything but nervous as she pushes to shift right out of our clothes. Well, I'm glad you're excited, I say as I step behind a tree to unrest. She puffs. I don't know why you're being shy like he hasn't seen us naked. I blush. Stop it. I just am. Okay, she sighs but doesn't say anything else. After a few moments, I close my eyes, letting the change take over. It has gotten easier. The more we shift, the less painful it is. I stretch and shake my fur out, before I slowly walk out from behind a tree and my breath catches. Calum is standing in his wolf form and he's even bigger than I imagined. His fur is as black as night. His wolf is huge, towering over my own. His green eyes lock with mine. You're beautiful. His words flew our link. Naoma is pushing for control, so I step back. She bounds forward, rubbing herself up against Calum. He purrs in response, letting his wolf take control. Our wolves take off racing each other through the woods. I fill with pride. My wolf might not be as big as Calum, but she had speed, so long as he was letting us win. We let our wolves play for a few hours before we both take back control. Calum insists we stay near the house. I've not gotten to see the whole territory, but he promises he will take me around once things calm down. I'm not going to argue with him. At least, not right now. Stretching out on the ground, I roll in the dirt. I enjoy being in this form. It's so freeing. Calum sits a little ways away, scanning the area. I watch him for a moment before dropping low on my belly. Slowly I creep up on him, getting into a pouncing position. 2 when I leap at his back. He spins around and I slam into his chest. We roll across the ground playfully nipping and growling at each other. My heart swells with joy. Being able to just enjoy time with Calum is amazing. And watching our wolves, you can tell how much they love each other. Love. Did I love Calum? I know I care about him, and the thought of anything happening to him causes an ache in my chest. But was I in love with him? We had never actually said those words. Settling down, we lay in a soft spot. I rest my head on his giant paws and he places his head on mine. We lay like that for a while. No words, no worry, just enjoying each other's company. Calum is the first to break the silence. Your wolf is unique, he says through our ink. I lift my head from under his, because of the silver thing. Cocking my head to the side, he shakes his massive head. No, he says, pressing his snout to the side of my face. This, your mark. I'd forgotten about it. It's always been there. He doesn't say anything for a few minutes. We have to go to the alpha meeting. This catches my attention. He nods. You're either Luna. Remember. I puff. Like I had forgotten. He gives me a wolfish grin and lightly tugs on my ear. I snap at him and he jumps back, dropping his front paws while lifting his rear. I bark a laugh at his playful stance. He looks ridiculous. Are you laughing at me? Standing to his full height, I yip and bolt as he drops into a stalking stance. A hull whips through the air as I run for it. He won't catch us. We are too fast. Chapter 12. Calum, as it turned out. The alpha meeting was to take place at the Silver River Pack. Every year we had an alpha meeting, and each pack got its turn to host. However, this year it worked in my favor as I already needed to have a sit-down with the alpha about setting my recon team up on their border. I thought it was still a good idea to keep an eye on the smaller packs. Regardless of the attack we had, I still had a lot of questions that needed answering, and I was working on a plan to get them. Elara, you don't need this many bags. Shout Scale, trying to fit more luggage into the back of the SUV. She huffs. Yes, I do. We are only going for the week. That's like half a bag. Elara looks like she's about to box his ears. Do you have any idea how hard it is to look this good all the time? And here we go. Kale mumbles. As she goes off, I lean to Kale. Should have kept your mouth shut. He glares at his sister. Yeah. Can you just order her to shut up? I chuckle. Walking away, he got himself into the mess so he can get himself out. I'm just happy Eleanor and I have our own car, so we won't have to listen to it. Tyler is loading the rest of Eleanor's bags into the Jeep. Knowing full well the reason Elara brought extra bags is because she didn't get Eleanor to pack more than 2 suitcases. Speaking of my mate, where is she? Eleanor am pacing back and forth in my room. Tyler had just taken down the rest of my bags and I had found out from Elara that we were going to the Silver River Pack for the alpha meeting. A freaking course. We were going there. I raise my hands, looking at the ceiling. Why, I shout. Did I do something to upset the moon goddess? Why the hell would she make me go back there? I sigh, rubbing my temples. Naomi stirs in my chest, rubbing against my skin. I know she was trying to comfort me, but I just cowed and calmed down. Why don't you just tell mate? I laugh. Yeah, that would be a great idea. So he can have half the war pack come with us. No, I don't think so. Naomi growls. They are not worth protecting. She isn't wrong. Most of the pack is bad, but I shouldn't be the one to make that call. Are you ready? Kayla asks, strolling into the room. What's wrong? I know I probably look as stressed as I feel, but I do my best to pull myself together. Nothing. Smiling, Lia chimes Naomi. I just have a headache. Ignoring her, Calum narrows his eyes at me, but before he can comment, Xander is popping his head in the door. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Luna, we are ready. I take that as my cue, walking out the door. Calum is right behind me, grabbing my waist. Slowly, He spins me around. What's the matter? Should I just tell him? Is it about the meeting? Oh, if he could just read my mind. That would be perfect. I nod. Don't worry about it. You're going to do great. I know being a Luna is a lot to take in. I look at him, forcing a smile. Right. Yes, being new to the whole Luna thing. I'm stressed about it. He chuckles. Oh yeah, that sounded convincing. Naoma says. Shut up. I bark at her and push her to the back of my mind. Well, it's a long car ride. We can go over how the meeting process works if you'd like. It might take some worry off your mind, he says as we make our way to the car. Sure, this isn't going to end well. I just have a feeling. You can still tell him. Naoma chimes in. No, well, maybe later. After we leave. Then he won't have time to bring half the pack. Naoma snorts. Yeah, like that is going to stop him. If mate wants to take out that pack. That's what I'm afraid of. I had fallen asleep on the ride over. It was a long drive. As it was night time and we finally reached the pack's border, I was a ball of nerves and Naoma was pacing. She was really unhappy that I had said nothing to our mate. We pulled through the all to familiar surroundings, passing by the pack house and over to the guest lodgings. Kalum got out and came around to open my door. I rubbed my sweaty palms on my pants and silently prayed to the moon goddess that they would have forgotten all about me. Kalum helps me from the car and I'm shaking. He looks at me, concerned. Deep breaths. Pulling me close. I do as he says, breathing in his scent and relax enough to stop shaking. That's better. Kissing my forehead as we make our way up the guest house steps. I don't remember having the pack host an alpha meeting before. That there were so many packs across the states, it's not surprising. But I do know they use the guest housing a lot. Alpha Eric loved to entertain, but it was all for personal gain. Hosting the alpha meeting would bring more awareness to his pack and give him a chance to show off, which he was all about. I suppress another shiver as we walk up the steps. Alpha Eric is standing by the front door, welcoming all the alphas and their guests as they file in. My heart rate shoots through the roof, and I hold my breath as we approach. Kalum glances at me before turning his attention to Alpha Eric. Stepping forward, he extends his hand. Alpha Kalum, Eric says, smiling and shakes his hand. It's nice to finally meet you. I want the ground to swallow me. Same, Kalum says, stepping back and pulling me to his side again. This is my mate, Eleanor, and Luna to the Blood Moon pack. I hold my breath as Eric looks at me. Slowly, he extends his hand to me. I want to shrink back, but I don't want to make Kalum suspicious. Gathering all my strength, I step forward, taking his hand. Eric brings it to his lips with a slow grin that makes my stomach turn. Luna, he says and kisses the back of my hand. And I was under the impression all Lus were marked prior to getting that title. Kalum growls and Eric lets go. Stepping back, Kalum grips me by the waist, pulling me close. I take back the personal space I wanted. He could hold me like this the whole time we were here. Well, says Eric, clapping his hands together. I hope you enjoy your stay. You two will be on the 3rd floor in rooms for your beta, gamma, and he looks at Alara, my sister. Kale says, right. He continues, your sister will be on the 2nd. Kalum nods and we proceed to our rooms. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He would give us the 3rd floor. This was the floor they had made me clean numerous times to help remind me to do as I was told, where my place was and what it'd never have. The rooms on this floor are elegant, with hues of gold and red. The beds are soft, and the pillows are made of goose feathers. At one time, I was jealous of these rooms and those that got to stay in them, but now it just looks too flashy. Kalum walks around the room. Alara would have a fit seeing who decorated this. He mumbles. I laugh. I can only imagine her reaction to her room. Trailing off, It almost let it slip. They gave her the pink rune. And boy was it pink. Luckily, Calum hadn't noticed as he just grunts in response. That night was rough. I culled at sleep and felt bad for waking Calum up every few minutes. When I finally passed out, Calum was getting up. I'm going to go get some coffee at the pack house. I bet he needed it after all my tossing and turning. Okay, let me get up. Yawning. Why don't you stay in bed? I'll bring you something. Putting on his shoes. Breakfast. Enthusiasm. In bed. Would I say no to that? He leans down and kisses my forehead. Try to rest. I know it's hard to do in different surroundings. I'll be right back. Leaving the room. Guilty is all I feel as I lay there trying to get comfortable. Sighing. I roll over. I need to tell him. He is going to find out. Why didn't I just tell him before? Reluctantly, I roll out of bed and get dressed. I already know where the pack house is, so I figure I would just head right over and be honest with him. I mean, we are already here. It's not like I can avoid it. We had to come because of the alpha meeting I saw. I know I'm just trying to convince myself to feel better about the lie. But I'm not going to feel better. Not until I tell him the truth. Heading out of my room, I lean right for the pack house. It's still early. Thank the goddess. Knowing this pack, most of them will still be in bed. I have no wish to run into anyone who might recognize me. I need to tell Calum before anyone else does. As I walk up the steps into the familiar surroundings, the hair on the back of my neck stands up as an all-too-familiar scent hits my nose. I quickly try making my way across the entry. Well, look what the wolf dragged in. I hear behind me. I cringe and slowly turn around. It recognized that shifter stink anywhere. And just where have you been? Coco asks, walking up. Behind her are Lee and Sesha. The three amigos and my tortures the whole time I spent in this pack. Irritation pricks me. None of your business. I snap. It watch your tone. Mutt. Sasha says, stepping in my face. Calling me a mutt with the name of a sheet is EU. A loud smack echoes off the walls as her hand collides with my face. How dare you? She yells, raising her hand again. You stupid. Fucking. A loud roar vibrates the entry. Get the fuck away from my mate. All three girls look in shock as Calum strides across the room, stepping in front of me. Put one more hand on my mate and you will lose it. He growls, eyes flashing. Elora and Kale are by my side. How dare you put your hands on Iluna? Elora snarls. She looks scary as hell. Her face is betrayed, and her eyes are flashing between her wolf and human. Sasha squeaks, sinking back into line with the other girls. Did she say Luna? Whispers Coco to Lily. Elora steps forward. Yes, I didn't if you don't make yourself scarce. I will do more than take off a hand. She growls as her face half shifts. All three girls turn tail and run. A satisfied smile crosses Elora's face as she turns back to me. What was that about? I stutter. Looking between all of them, Calum is watching me with narrowed eyes. I shift in comfortably, looking at the floor. I used to stay with this pack. Glancing up, Elora and Kale look confused. But Calum, he looks murderous. He spins around and storms out of the pack house. The doors almost fly off the hinges as he smashes them open. I panic and take off after him, leaving Elora and Kale in shock. Killer agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I yell, running down the steps. Please, don't. A few people stop to watch us. I catch up to him, grabbing his arm, but he yanks it away, trying to cover the hurt on my face. I step in front of him. I'm sorry. He tries to step around me, but I get in the way again. You lied to me. I shake my head. I didn't lie. I try to explain, but he cuts me off. I knew there was something wrong. And you lied. Told you, says Naoma, but I ignore her. I don't have the energy to fight with them both. Calum, I just... You what? What till I some more? I know he's angry and isn't trying to be mean, but it still hurts. Standing to my full height, I lift my chin. Yes, I say. He looks confused. I didn't tell you about the pack because I didn't want to deal with it. It's an excuse, but it's the truth. I'm a coward. I thought you might go to war and I couldn't have it on my conscience. Tears stream down my face. I look at the ground. I deserve whatever I have coming. I should have been honest. I wait for him to walk away. Instead, he pulls me into a hug. The action takes me by surprise, but I hug him back. You're not a coward. I squeeze him harder. He pulls away after a minute. No more lies. Locking eyes with mine. I nod. H.E.S. right. No more. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. The news of my mate spread like wildfire through the pack. No doubt from the 3 girls Elara got murdered. Eleanor had explained who they were, among many other things to do with the pack. This made me hate them more and more. It was clear Eric didn't deserve the title he had, but I had other matters to handle before dealing with him and his worthless pack members. The council had arrived, and they were calling for a meeting. I already knew it was to go over the Argent issues. The packs were already aware of a threat, but as far as the details, only I and the council knew. This was going to get ugly. No one liked being left in the dark, but to spread the issues with the silver bomb without proof would have been pointless. Because of the attack on my pack, we now had the proof we needed. Still, I wasn't counting out further testing. I imagined they had been expecting a more devastating blow from the attack. We lost 10 members that had succumbed to the silver before Eleanor could reach them. She had beat herself up for days at not being able to help. But no one can bring someone back from the dead. I head into the meeting room. I was the first to arrive next to the council, who already sat at the large round table. Eric must be a fan of the Knights of the Round Table, as it resembled the story and even had the center cut out to fit a rock with a sword in the middle. What a twat. Walking over to Hugh. He was the head of the council, and about the only member I liked. We both seemed to have the same mind and did not deal with anyone's shit, though Hugh was a bit more discreet in expressing his anger. It comes with the age, he liked to tell me. Hugh and I clasped for arms. Nice to see you again. I nod. Would be nice if it was for better circumstances. Stepping back, I nod towards the other council members in respect. I hear you have found your mate. Warrant says. I nod. We are interested to meet her, says Raymond, another member of the council. I try my best not to get irritated. No doubt Various had given accounts from the attack, though he didn't have the full information. I threw him out before he could question my mate. The rest of the alphas had entered, so we all take our seats. And you waited until now to tell us, shouts Mason, Alpha of the Moon Hell Pack. I knew this was going to be a shit show. All the alphas were yelling and pointing fingers at one another. Slowly Hugh stood, raising his hand. One by one, the alphas fall silent. They may be pissed, but all of them held great respect for Hugh, and even though he often had a calm demeanor, he was not one you wanted to piss off. Please, everyone. I understand you're upset. However, we have reason to believe they have infiltrated some packs, and we could not risk all of our plans on the chance it could get out. Growls echo throughout the room. No disrespect, Hugh. But why is Kalon the only one to know? Says Owen, Alpha of the White Tooth Pack. Because my pack is the best at tracking. The room goes silent. It was the first thing I had said in over an hour. My pack is well known throughout our kind. Not a single alpha in this room had not come to me at some point for some sort of assistance. Hugh sits back down as I take the lead. Now we can all sit here and listen to you bitch at each other, or we can get to the point. Alpha Calum, says Isolda, Alpha of the Night Raven Pack. She was the only female alpha in the States. She, like I, had been silent until now. I heard about the attack on your pack. Rumors of silver immune shifters have circulated. What is the truth to this? All eyes land on me. Yes, Calum. Various says. I too would like to know. Glaring at Various, I addressed the rest of the room. No shifter is immune to silver. Many alphas throw questions. Then how did your pack survive? One asks. I heard many were infected, yet you only lost 10 members. Says another. How is that possible? A third chimes. Yes, Calum. Various says. Tell us. I hold up my hand to stop the questions. We lost 10 members of my pack. May the moon goddess rest their souls. As for how the infected pack members lived, I am not sure. It was a lie. We still didn't understand what had happened with Eleanor or how she could remove the silver. Even if I told them, I wouldn't be able to answer their questions. Not only that, this type of knowledge would put her in danger. It was better to wait until we knew exactly what we were dealing with. But hours later, the meeting had finally ended. I was making my way back to the guest house when Alpha Eric stops me. Alpha Calum, hold on a minute. I fight a growl and stone my face before turning towards him. What can I do for you? We have an important matter to discuss. If you want to discuss the recon team, I planned a place. We can do that later. Right now I am busy. Turning to leave. It's not that. It's something more important. Why don't we step into my office? A bit more private. Reluctantly, I nod, letting him lead the way. Once in his office, we both sit. So what is so important? Eric sighs. Well, it's regarding your mate. I fight a growl as Artemis pushes for control, but he continues. Unaware. I hear you have only been together a short while. I nod. Do you really know that much about her? And to have made her the Luna already, without marking her that I do find interesting. I don't see how that is any of your concern. Teeth clenched. He raises his hands. I mean no offense. Though I doubt she has been honest with you. He was wrong there. She was honest. Maybe she needed time to trust me, but I didn't see how that was any of his business. Well, to put it simply, she's a member of my pack. She didn't ask permission to leave. And now that she is back on the pack's territory, she will need her transfer papers before she is allowed to leave. Artemis is right on the edge. Was this guy stupid? Did he really just threaten to keep our mate? I'm going to stop your bullshit right there. Barely holding control. She is not, nor never was, a member of your pack. Keeping a 6-year-old child as a pack house safe doesn't count as pack member treatment. Anger flashing on his face. You don't know the whole truth. I stand, growling. I know exactly what you did to my mate from the time she was 6 until she left. And I will tell you it is only by her request that I have not placed your head on a pike, though I'm strongly considering breaking it. Eric's face pales. This did not go as he had expected. I head for the door. Turning back I say, you will keep your distance from my mate. If you or so much as a member of your pack look at her wrong, I will use it to declare war. Turning, slamming the door.